How Macy's racist hiring discrimination was triggered by my ex-friend's homophobia. My ex-friend Tiffany Wright's homophobia. This will be a three-part story. The first video will be how I know Tiffany and why the fuck I loaned her $600. The second video will be how she sabotaged my Macy's employment, which triggered Macy's racial hiring discrimination. The third video will be what happened in small claims court, not only small claims court, but also EPO court, because she filed a false EPO against me. So we had to go to court twice within like 5 days. Okay, video one. How I know Tiffany and why the fuck I loaned her $600. I think it's important to know who I am as a person in relation to this case. I'm a black, bisexual, gay male. I was also abused by my father to call my stepmother mom my entire life, so now I'm manic depressive. And I had a mental breakdown last year where I was so emotionally distressed from unreciprocated love from family, friends, and partners that my brain literally gave out for 15 or so seconds and I collapsed to the floor. I also feel that much of my attraction to females is hindered by my mother issues for my biological mother and my grandmother, who I shared the same birthday with, my grandmother. They were both Southern Baptists and thereby homophobic. Even beyond being gay, it's just difficult for me to trust women. But beyond my trauma, I'm also a writer, a model, and a freelance performer. It has been art and deep introspection that has given me a venue to channel the effects of my trauma in a creative, non destructive way. I still fucking curse though, which isn't illegal. Furthermore, it must be noted that homophobia is prevalent within the black culture and mainly upheld by black women who look past suitors like myself because of the stereotype that will inevitably expose them to HIV. So then they go reward hypermasculine yet toxic men, and thereby I become marginalized into a gay accessory. Biphobia is a sector of the LGBT plus community where gay and straight demographics alike marginalize people like me as indecisive or greedy. How I met Tiffany. Tiffany and I were introduced to each other somewhere around 2010 when we were both selling Mary Kay. I have an extensive sales and customer service background, which includes real estate, and Mary Kay was my father's way to capitalize on my sexuality and monetize my connection with women. Tiffany and I became Facebook acquaintances, but never engaged for almost a decade up until last year, 2020. During our year of friendship, I've heard her say, I don't want to work, which I understood because my own mental is so fragile. And it was during, she said this during the height of the pandemic shutdown and the Breonna Taylor rally. So it was especially taxing on the black psyche during that time. Even though my department was laid off, I never filed for unemployment because I refused to depend on the system. But Tiffany chose to depend on it. I've also heard her say, if I own student loans, they get $20 from me for the rest of my life. I've also heard her say, it didn't work out before because he didn't make enough money, but I'm going to marry Raymond. Raymond is the older man she's dated before and started dating after her father died. She spent days and weeks at a time at his house shacking up with him. Sometimes I'd even transfer her to Jeffersontown where Raymond lived. I supported her relationship with him and compartmentalized my attraction to her because I valued her as a close platonic friend. because I'm mature enough to separate friendship from attraction. I've also heard her say making Facebook posts is work. She was venting to me about Raymond. Maybe he asked her when she was going to get a job. I'm not sure. But while venting, she was making the point that doing research for her Facebook posts surrounding healthy living was work. She's 40, I'm 36. I remember thinking that's very adolescent thinking for a 40-year-old. Thinking for a 40-year-old. That's a very adolescent mentality for. So here's a story of how Tiffany Wright asked me for $600 via Cash App. On August 12th, Tiffany Wright, my former platonic friend, asked me for $600 for 30 days because she herself loaned $1,000 to a friend that didn't pay her back, and therefore she was soon to be evicted. She said she didn't want to risk asking Raymond because he'd expect sexual favors. Looking back, that's exactly who she should have asked, since that's where her investment has been. And it was audacious for her to even ask me for such a sum of money because I could never ask anyone for that. Definitely not her. Not to mention her mother's still living while mine isn't, and I'm estranged from my father's side. The day I loaned her the money, I made a minor tasteless joke about which part of her apartment was mine. And she nearly verbally lacerated me, stating she doesn't like that and she'll return the money right now. I quickly apologized and I didn't mention anything else about it for the next 39 days. We spoke fairly frequently, but never about the money. Sometime after 30 days, I received an odd phone call that she's near my place with her cousin and wanted to stop by. It was odd because we have similar personalities and she never let me stop by unannounced, so it was fairly hypocritical for her to request this of me. Looking back, I feel like she was trying to distract me with friendship from the fact that she hadn't paid me back. After 40 days and no conversation from Tiffany about paying me back, I contacted her via text. Morning, sis. I'm gonna need my money soon, please, and thank you, because my car needs fixing and it's my only form of income. I'm stressing because my funds are dwindling and it's been over 30 days as you promised. Thanks, blue heart emoji. She says, I know. I'm so sorry. I'm doing what I can, but it's not looking good. Just being upfront and honest with you, I never got my unemployment. It's been nothing but issues with that. I haven't even gotten any job callbacks. I haven't heard from the one you recommended either. I said, yeah, I ain't heard from them either. Plus, our contact and my friend broke up because it was a referral from a friend's girlfriend. She said, well, I'm about to sell some things, but it's not looking good. I'm going to have to move. I told her I sold some clothes somewhere and made 50 bucks. Then I asked, did your friend you loaned the money to not pay you back, your friend of 20 years? She said he did, but I needed it for last month's rent and bills. Now I need it again, LOL. That's when I went in because she's always setting boundaries with people and now she's standing on my money. So I said, yeah, but you can't need my money more than I need my money. That's not your call, nor my responsibility to pay your rent when you don't have it. Now, now you're taking advantage. You need to, as the person you chose to invest in over the past year, ignoring red flags, I bought you 30 days like a good friend should. Now I need my rent money back. So please return my funds immediately or at least start paying on it, and I will allow our friendship to continue. I've been more than generous. Thanks. Kissy face emoji, green heart emoji. You've made it clear I'm not your man. So it's not my responsibility to pay your rent for rolling months. And the fact that I had to ask 10 days later rather than you telling me is messed up too. I do everything I can for my friends, but not only were you irresponsible with your funds, you didn't keep your word. And save the words, it's not your place either to be moody with my shit. Send my funds and maybe I'll look past your audacity to maintain a friendship. No offense, or you're quick to set boundaries with people and these are mine. If I get any flack, I'll turn ice cold and move directly to litigation with court fees included. No homophobically biased black woman who deems me unworthy of the best of her is entitled to the best of me. Let me know how you intend to pay it off. Thanks. She says, some flim flam okay about, okay, I hear you, I apologize, but homophobically biased, what does that even mean? Your sexuality has nothing to do with the fact that I don't have my money. Uh, and deems you unworthy. At this point, I'm not sure. Okay, she's doing this thing with her homophobic prejudice that parallels what white racism, white privilege does with racism. If they don't have to change, if they acknowledge what you're talking about, they have to change. If it doesn't directly affect them, they don't think it exists. So I'm being as direct as possible with her, but she's disregarding and marginalizing what I'm saying because it doesn't apply to her frame of the world. I said, I've always liked you, but I'm gay, and black women are homophobic, and it's hypocritical of you to expect the best of me, blah, blah, blah. I've been a great friend. This is why I don't like women, because it's gross. This feeling. Just give me my money, please, friend. Thanks. Okay, so a few days passed, and I still have compassion for her. Later the same week, she got rehired at Macy's. Out of a desperate fear of eviction, she humbly reclaimed her former sales position at Macy's, which means she probably could have gained employment earlier than she finally did. I'm usually up by 7 a.m., and since I drive constantly for work, anyway, I asked her if she needed help getting to work at 8 a.m. I live directly behind St. Matthew's Mall, which is next to Oxmoor Mall, where Macy's is located. She lives 5.6 miles away near the intersection of Barstown and Breckenridge. So a round trip is 10.2 miles in my 99 Honda Accord with 260,000 miles. I had compassion for her still. She offered gas money and I charged her less than a tank of gas per week because I knew she was struggling. I absorbed any gas fees over $30 because of the compassion I still had for my friend, even though she was completely shady about returning my money, returning my loan. I wasn't sipping for her. I had compassion because our lives paralleled as double minorities. There's proof of the text on the gas situation on the website. She also told me that Macy's was hiring extensively, and this was right before the holiday season. This was what, in October, right as the holiday season's gearing up. She told me that Macy's was hiring extensively and that there was a $500 referral bonus we could split. She cashed out me $30 in a request to buy her a phone charger on 10/15, October 15th. She called after I had just delivered her to work. The charger was $10 and the other 20 is for the 4 times or so I've taken her to work already. After the first week of transporting her, she cursed me out and blocked me, essentially fleeing with my money. Here's what happened on the same day I brought her the charger. Later that day, around the time she was to get off, 7 p.m., I called to make sure she got home, but no answer. No big deal. I texted her telling her that I didn't want anything and was just touching base. About an hour or so later, she tells me she's out on a date. I don't respond, but I'm sure she can see that I read the message. So this is where it gets weird. She sends a needless text asking if I was taking her to work in the morning. I told her back when I agreed to help transport her to work that if I hadn't texted her by 7 a.m. that I wasn't awake and she needed to Uber. So I knew the text was needless and I felt that she was doing a temperature check on my mood. So I respond asking if she had asked her date, essentially reinforcing what I told her before about having the people she chooses to invest in to support her. I mean, how can you find a ride to go out at night without any money, but you can't find a ride to work? She responds through text telling me she hadn't asked him because they don't have that type of relationship. I responded with, well, let me know what he says. She then responds with, let me know if you can. So at this point, I'd arrived at another friend's house and I feel overextended, overlooked, and completely taken advantage of. I respond through text telling her that I won't be taking her to work anymore and to let me know when she can start repaying her debt. She texts back something about me being too sensitive or dramatic, which is atypical to marginalize and disregard the feelings and voice of a minority, in this instance, a gay bisexual man. She not only texts back, but she also calls. I was hoping not to talk to her on the phone, but I did return her call. As soon as she answers, she starts rattling and speaking over me. I'm sure there's a panic factor involved, which triggers my manic depression because I don't get a word in edgewise. And at its core, I feel like she's speaking over me with my own property. Any friend of mine knows that it's the ultimate disrespect to attempt to dominate, be louder, or outtalk me within my own space. And she's standing on my money. So here we go. I'm trying to talk and okay. Then she, what I call smoke bomb me or smoke screen me, or made an issue out of a non-issue. Now remember, she called me and I returned her call. But she heard my friend in the background and flared up on me from embarrassment that someone knows she borrowed $600. So without missing a beat, she creates a smoke screen and says, oh, you're performing for your friend. As though I'm trying to embarrass her on purpose rather than the fact that she spent the past year being irresponsible. After her rant, she disconnected the call, but not before telling me that you got the wrong bitch. Let's do that again. You got the wrong bitch. I texted her telling her that I was taking her to small claims court, and she sent me the kissing face emoji, essentially taunting me with my own funds. The text and the proof is on the blog. It was merely my attraction to her that made me realize that I was overextending myself for someone who wouldn't do the same for me. That someone expected the best of me while withholding the best of them. And ultimately, that she needs to ask the people she chooses to look past me and invest in to support her. As of October 12th, 2021, the day I filed my small claims claim, she was literally attempting to pay her rent with my rent money for the month.